Are you good at doing nothing? Well, if you're not, that's probably holding you and your business back. And what I want to take you through today is how you can get good at this so that you can make your business better. What I want to talk to you about today is something unusual and something that's not talked about a lot in the business world, especially in the online space. And this is the art of doing nothing, something that Winnie the Pooh's a big fan of. If you've seen the latest Christopher Robin film, they sing at the end, "I'm busy, busy, busy doing nothing." Highly recommend a watch. But this is an important topic. It's not just airy and spiritual. And I think it's vital to understand as a business owner if you want to stand the test of time and you want to enjoy the journey and get the best results from your business. So the common kind of belief in business is that you've got to hustle and that the best hustlers get the best results. And whilst it's true that business is extremely hard work and that we have to be willing to work very hard, just telling yourself that working hard is the key to success is a mistake. And actually, what I notice, and it's a change that I've been through myself, but what I notice with the clients that I work with, and this isn't just business owners, but also their most high-performing employees, is that often we are working really hard because we don't know how to slow down, because we're not very good at being peaceful in our own space and without being busy. And we're actually hiding our inability to be peaceful and to slow down behind being hardworking. And that's a problem because that's always going to lead to burnout and diminishing returns and lowering performance. So when you are working hard, you've kind of got two fuel sources behind it, right? You've either got genuine passion and drive, which is great, or you're working hard in response to a problem driven by stress, which also serves a time and a place. But if that's the underlying fuel source, and I've done previous episodes on this, if the underlying fuel source is I'm working hard because I'm stressed, it's a short-term strategy. You're going to get sick, you're going to get unwell, you're going to get burnt out, the quality of your output is going to drop, the quality of your decision making is going to drop, your health's going to decline, and the performance of your business is going to decline. And the data shows us this, like tons and tons of small businesses in the UK. I'm not going to quote particular studies because, I mean, they're all around the 50% mark. But obviously you can find data to prove whatever point you want. But there's tons of data just showing the number of small business owners who are working way more hours than they would in a normal job, who are getting paid less than they would in a normal job, and are struggling with or reporting symptoms of poor mental health due to owning the business every year. So the data shows us that's a large proportion. And to me, that is testament to the fact that so many that hard work isn't the answer, is the point I want to get across. That there's tons and tons of business owners out there that are working extremely hard, that do work 6-7 days a week, 60 plus hours a week. You know, there's tons of that out there. And that does not very often equate to success and everything going well. So I think it's a bit of a fallacy to share this message that the secret to success is working hard. But you do need to work hard to contribute towards success. But we've got to think about how we go about that and why we're going about it in that way. So the key thing that I want to get across is that if you're working really, really hard, and that's coming from a place of stress, and it's coming from the fact that you are unable to slow down and be at peace, and this is a really great way to think about it as well, if you're working hard and you're not spending time with your family and not spending time on your health, and you feel guilty about that, you would want to spend more time with your family and on your health, there's an issue there. There's a misalignment. And the reason I want to use that as an example is I think a lot of people, when they're thinking about business, will look to people like Elon Musk, right? And Elon Musk is, very, very successful in business, probably the epitome of what being successful in business looks like. And he's notorious for being an obsessive hard worker, for sleeping at the factory. I don't know how many divorces he's had and kids he's got from different women, but obviously there's clearly a misalignment between having a personal life and a healthy life and business. But also, Elon Musk has Asperger's, so he's not typical neurology, and I think he genuinely enjoys just working, and I don't think he would feel overly guilty. And I'm speaking for him here, so I might be wrong, but I don't think Elon Musk is working hard because he's stressed and sacrificing his life because he's stressed. I think it's just what he enjoys doing. I think that's how it works in his head. But for a lot of us, it's like, no, I don't. I would actually like to spend more time with my family. I would actually like to spend more time with my kids, but I feel guilty. I feel guilty if I'm not in the business. I feel guilty if I'm not working. I feel like if I'm not busy all the time, I'm not going to be successful. Now, that is a problem. And that shows us two things. It shows us that we've got an inability to slow down and to be quiet and to be peaceful, and that we have this kind of underlying belief, limiting belief or foundational belief that's kind of been a subconscious belief is probably the best way to put it, that we will only be successful if we work all the time. And I think this is drilled into us from school, especially in the UK. You know, we're given homework from a young age. We're told to sit, to listen, to get on with it, to take our work home. That's drilled into us from a young age, whereas that's not a particularly helpful mindset with business. So I'm waffling on a bit, but the key point that I want to make is that if you're working really hard and you feel guilty about it, if you're working really hard and you wish you spent more time at home, if you're working really hard and you feel a constant or regular undercurrent of stress, that's not a good thing. And you've got to stop telling yourself it's a good thing. And you've got to stop telling yourself a lie that this is what's going to be the secret to your success. It's not. It's going to be the underpinning of you feeling stressed and not getting the results that you deserve to get. So what we've got to do is we've got to address the issue. And for most of us, it is we don't feel comfortable slowing down. We don't feel comfortable in our own time. We've never learned how to feel peaceful when we're not busy. I learned this when I came out of the military, and I went traveling for just under 3 years. I went to Australia, I went to Thailand, I went to Nepal, did loads of cool things. And when I went to Australia, I remember feeling unhappy. I remember thinking to myself, what's wrong with me? Like, I don't feel overly happy. I wasn't depressed, but I kind of got out of the military, which I didn't enjoy. I was living in a beautiful part of the world. I knew how lucky I was to have the opportunity to travel, to have a healthy body, to live in somewhere like Australia, to have all this opportunity and freedom to me. So I remember it felt irrational to me. Like, why do I feel unhappy? And whilst I was having this thought process, I was walking through Perth train station and I saw a book, The Art of Happiness. And I hadn't been reading a lot, and I decided to pick up that book and read it. And what that book did for me was make me very aware of my own shortcomings in regards to my mental software, the way I think, my programming. And that I wasn't very good at being peaceful. That's what I learned from that book. But reading that book helped me be more peaceful straight away, but also made me realize, okay, well, I've got to get good at this. I've got to get good at slowing down. And that took me on a journey where I went and lived on monasteries and studied Buddhism for over a year, learned to meditate, learned to be more peaceful, basically. And what I realized was, okay, I didn't know this. I didn't know how to be comfortable in my own head and being still. So I'd made up for that by being busy all the time, by constantly pursuing adrenaline, by drinking, by doing lots of different things that aren't particularly healthy when you do them to excess. So that led to me quitting drinking and being able to start businesses. But it still left me with, I still had issues. I still had, especially in my first business, issues around like slowing down. And that was driven by like kind of these underlying beliefs that I need to be busy to be successful, that it's not right to take time off, that it's hard work that pays off, and that if I take my foot off the gas in the business, it's all going to fail. And I know from working with lots of different people that that's common beliefs that live in our heads as business owners, as leaders, as managers, as parents, as partners, as professionals. So what I want to do is obviously get you to recognize that you need to be comfortable slowing down. Like, that's the first thing you've got to do. And then what I want to do is talk you through a tool that can help you do this, because it's not just that makes sense what Mike said, so now I'm going to start doing it. It's the first step is awareness. The first step to solving a problem is being aware of it. So now we're aware. So the next thing we need to do is we need to get, okay, well, how do I get better at slowing down and get better at being peaceful when I'm not busy, so that I can recharge, recuperate, make better decisions, be more strategic with my work, etc. Have time for my health, have time for my family. And the tool that I've found to be the best for this is something that we developed called the Cadence Calendar. And the Cadence Calendar sounds fancy, but it's basically a one-pager, and you can just write this down whilst you're listening to me, or I'll put the link in the show notes for you to download our template. And the Cadence Calendar was designed. I designed it for myself actually because I got burnt out in my first business because I was just working like an idiot. I wasn't slowing down. I wasn't giving myself permission to take time off work. We took 2 holidays in 5 years, and my missus didn't leave me for some reason. And I knew like that I wanted to go into business again. But I also knew that, and this is after the Buddhist experiences, by the way, but I also knew that my tendency is to work extremely hard. And sometimes I love that, but sometimes I'm very aware I'm doing it because I'm telling myself these stories that I need to be busy, that I need to get ahead, that I can't get behind. So I know I have this like narrative that pops into my head. And I'm aware of that. Like I'd like it to disappear. Will it ever disappear? I don't know. But the fact that I'm aware of it means that it has less of a grip over me. But because I'm aware of that, I knew that if I didn't have some kind of framework or tool to keep me in line, or to stop me going too far in the wrong way, I'd fall into the same trap again. So I built the Cadence Calendar, and what's on the Cadence Calendar is 2 squares for daily, 2 squares for weekly, 2 squares for monthly, 2 squares for quarterly. And what you do is once a quarter, you refresh your Cadence Calendar, and if you've got a partner, I'd highly recommend doing this with them. And you write down, okay, what's my non-negotiables for the next 12 weeks over these boxes. And because it's only 2, it stops you from just doing what a lot of us do, this highly optimistic, visionary people, where you just write, right, I'm going to do everything. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to eat really healthy food. I'm going to go and spend 12 days with the kids. We're going to, we overload ourselves with goals and get stressed by them. So instead, it forces us to be really specific. So like, okay, what's the 2 daily non-negotiables that I'm going to commit to, or try and commit to, over the next 12 weeks? So I know for me, when I came out of the gym and came to doing what I do now, where I sit on a chair a lot more and I work with businesses, and I'm standing in rooms, or I'm sitting down with teams, as opposed to, I used to own a gym, as opposed to throwing around and teaching all day, every day. One of the things was my step count dropped and my energy started to drop. So when I first started doing this, I was like, well, I want to get my 10,000 steps a day, which I'm pretty consistent with doing now. Eating 3 meals a day, like it could be anything, but it could be finishing work by a certain period of time. Or for you, it might be, and it's got to be something that feels right for you. So it might be that for you, weekly, you have at least 2 nights where you're home before 6, so you can put the kids to bed, whatever it might be. So you do that daily, weekly, and monthly. And what that does is it stops it feeling overwhelming. It makes it visual, and you can do it with your partner as well. You can both have them, or you can do it together. So it creates this kind of communication. And what that does is it stops you from working like an idiot and forgetting to have a life. And because I do think as well that for those of us who are very kind of focused and driven, like there are positives to that, obviously. Like we can make stuff happen, we can grow businesses, we can achieve amazing things. And we don't want to dislike that about ourselves. Like I said at the beginning of this episode, we ideally don't want it to be predominantly driven by stress. We want it to be driven by passion. But we don't want to beat that out of ourselves. But we just do need to put guardrails around it, because you can always have too much of a good thing, right? So having the Cadence Calendar there makes it visual. We have ours in our fridge. There is a line below it as well, which says do something different, and it has the months. And you don't have to do something different every month, but obviously when you do, you write it in there. So for like my partner and I, it works really well, because she'll lean towards, let's go and do stuff. I'll lean towards, let's, be cautious with the money. Let's keep our savings growing. Let's maybe go next month. So both of us will lean in opposite directions. And it's a really good kind of visual to stop us going too far one way, basically. And what will tend to happen is Laura can say to me, we haven't done anything different for 2 to 3 months. And what I know now from looking at this over and over is that I kind of need something. I like working hard. I like getting stuff done. I'm very productive. But if I don't do something away from standard life and the business kind of once every quarter, I start to feel a bit flat. And I've kind of started to recognize that now from looking at this and doing it. So I'm going into next year going like, okay, I want something planned every quarter. And not feeling guilty about that, because I recognize that it helps me with my productivity, that life is to be enjoyed, and that actually all of this leads to a better business and to a better impact on the people that we work with, better impact on our customers, and a better business. So the cadence calendar is the solution to this. But maybe this episode, or hopefully this has been a bit of therapy, really, because it's definitely very deeply ingrained in British society to kind of feel guilty about not working extremely hard all the time. And I think it's unhelpful. My book is The Better Happy Business Revolution, the Happy Business Revolution. It's all about like, how do we get results and enjoy the journey? And I'm certainly about working hard. Like, we have to work hard, but we do need to be aware that if we're working hard all the time and it's just a slog, and that's coming from a place of stress, that's an issue. And it's probably a deeper issue with us as people not knowing how to slow down, be at peace in our own space. So I definitely recommend starting with the cadence calendar, play around with meditation, read some spiritual books that help you upgrade your software that you've got in your head, your thinking patterns. There's a great book called 4,000 Weeks. There's a great book called The Happiest Man Alive by Eddie Jacku. Both of those, I think Oliver Burkeman wrote 4,000 Weeks. Both of those will help you start to change the way that your brain works and move it away from just being in this constant state of stress and do. Another one is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle as well. So read those books or listen to them, get your cadence calendar in place, and get to a place where you are working hard, but you're also enjoying your life. And because you're balancing those two things, you're not sacrificing all the things that matter to try and make this better thing in the future. You've actually found a happy medium between the two, where you're working towards your goals, you feel good about that, you're growing your business, you're doing the things that you're passionate about, but you've also got time to spend with your kids, to go on holidays, to look after your health. You know, we should definitely have all of those. So I'll put the cadence calendar in the show notes. If you've got any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. If you know anybody that would benefit from hearing this, please do share it with them. It's the only way that we can grow and get the Better Happy message out there.